Okay, yes. Welcome back to my YouTube live. So it's Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Singapore, Malaysia, and Philippine time. So again, I am Jovan, and I am a mindset coach, and I help entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, wannabe entrepreneurs, coaches, and therapists have a very strong entrepreneurial mindset so that they can succeed in creating the business that they want. All right, good. So we're back in answering questions. So, hello, I want to just check who is in. So, we have currently five people in. Honey, yes. Nam Huynh, uh, Xuan Phuong Nguyen. Yes, hello, hello. Welcome to the channel. So, yeah, so today, the first question that we are going to be tackling is something that I am passionate about being an entrepreneur for now for about 13 years. Hi, Van Nguyen. Welcome, welcome. So, for being an entrepreneur for 13 years, it's something that I'm really passionate about, something that I love doing, creating business, helping people using business. So yeah, so let's get started. I want to like answer a lot of questions, and we do have some questions from my social media as well, like Facebook, things like that. So the first question that I want to talk about, of course, is our main topic. Is what should I do to become an entrepreneur? So I love this question because when someone asks me this, right? Oh, by the way, haha, last week I forgot like halfway through and I remembered, right? So in order for me to be really be in a great state to answer all of your questions, I will change into my professor mode. So just wait a while. Sound effects. Okay, so in NLP, in neuro linguistic programming, so we learned, and of course, as a coach, I teach this to my clients as well. We learn about anchoring, and anchoring is very powerful. So, like even putting on very nice clothes so that you feel good. It's a way of anchoring and changing your state in order to become powerful. So it's very similar. So I use these spectacles, these different types of spectacles to change my state into becoming a professor. All right, good. Enough introduction. So let's go back to the question. So what should I do in order to become an entrepreneur? So I love this question because when someone asks me this, it gives me a bit of hint, like where is this person coming from? There'll be multiple ways of doing this. So as a coach, I love asking questions as well to my clients. And so when someone asks me this, the first thing that would pop up, the question that will pop up in my mind um, is this person looking for like a particular quality of an entrepreneur? Like what are the qualities of an entrepreneur? Is this what this person is asking? Then another question would be more like validation. They probably would be asking, am I qualified to become an entrepreneur? And that's kind of like the question that is running in the background. So that's why this question is super interesting to me. And I remember, and this is very powerful, right? And I'm sure no matter what age you are right now, like of course not 5 years old, but when you are like somewhere in the adult age, like 18 and above, you definitely can relate to this. And this is a powerful distinction that I learned from Money in You as well, is that a lot of us growing up right now that we are adults is that we take on this always asking for permission. And it's because when we were in school, before we can actually answer, you raise your hand like, mom, teacher, teacher, teacher. And When you raise your hand, then it's basically asking for permission, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that we get started, we get programmed. It's when we get started to be programmed, and we take on that until we're adults. So now, even though, like, for example, you want to start your own business, and you are looking for a form of permission to actually start, and it's totally okay, right? Like, it's about being aware of it and then doing something about it. And I remember I had a client, who had big dreams for her business. So she wants, from earning or somewhere around $7,000 per month, she wants to level up her business to $200,000 per month. And and the business is going to be like totally different from what she's doing. And interestingly, like, talking to the people in her life, her family, she's like, she's not comfortable because she's afraid that um, the the husband, or her family members, her mom or her dad, won't agree to what she plans to do, and in a way, like, avoiding, like, that scared to hear the rejection, like, oh, you don't do that, it's not for you, and things like that. And so that's kind of like the permission part. And so this is like what's happening behind your mind, when or that person's mind, when someone asks me this question. So normally, what I would do is start to talk about a very good distinction. So, and this is part of how we grew up as well, is that normally the what the society has told us is that, okay, you do things first, right? Because the question is, what should I do to become an entrepreneur? So what society has told us is like, okay, um, I need to do this in order to have something, like acquire something, and then I'm gonna be like that. So let's say, for example, I need to maybe start a business, right? Like, I do business, me I need to do business, and then I'll have a business, start earning a lot of money, and having a lot of like, maybe thousands of millions of money, and then I become a millionaire, I become rich. So that's kind of like the programming that we had from society. So, meaning, if I kind of like shorten it, right? So it's doing, or do, and then have, and then being. So I become a millionaire, I become rich. So do, have, be. But the secret, right? The secret that most successful people actually know is that it starts with B, and if you haven't heard of this, or maybe you have, it's actually supposed to be be, then do, and then have. Be, do, have. And it's different from what we are programmed, meaning do first, then have, and then you become like that. So this question tells me that where this person is coming from. Oh, I need to do first, I need to do first. But what you need to really do is be. The beingness is the most important part. And that beingness is what will give you that strong mindset, that chance of success in doing a business. So when we talk about beingness, what is that, right? So beingness is yourself, like, your confidence, your mental strength, your attitude. So all of that is about beingness. And when you have the correct beingness, like, let's say, for example, you are a confident person, right? You have that beingness of confidence, and when you approach people to share your story, your products and services in your business, then how would the people accept that? So definitely they will sense that, they will feel that, oh, this person is like very confident, and he believes in what he's doing in his products and services. And so it starts with the beingness, then you do it, then it's easier. So remember, it's be, then do, and then have. And so that is the key. So now if you think about it, the question, we can change it a bit. So what should I be to become an entrepreneur? So when you change that question to be, then it's much easier, because a lot of people get stressed, and there's a lot of, like, like checklists. They think that, oh, I need to check this, or in order to become an entrepreneur, I need to do all of these things, check, 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 check. But it's supposed to be like more of the beingness. So when, as an entrepreneur, and one of the things that I want to say, right? So anyone can be an entrepreneur. Anyone. This is really my belief. My belief is that anyone who wants to become an entrepreneur can become an entrepreneur. It's just a matter of, if you do you really want it. So of course, officially, for you to become like really an entrepreneur is, of course, if you start an enterprise or a business, then of course you are an entrepreneur, like officially, like, right? But anyone can be an entrepreneur. It's just a matter of a shift in the mindset. So what we are normally stuck with is the employee mindset, because this is what we have learned going through school. We are trained. Basically, we are programmed to work. So what needs to change first is that mindset, from being an employee to becoming an entrepreneur. And so that's where it starts. So I hope I answered that question. So let me check who is here first. So welcome, welcome, Ning Nguyen. Hi. Yes, you got this. Oh, thank you very much. Let me just remove the, yeah. Okay. So, hello everyone. We just want to take some time to greet everyone. And of course, while you're here, please do feel free to subscribe to the channel. Yes, Yen, hello. Whoever is here, please say hi in the chat so I know where you are as well. Good evening, good evening. Feng Muyen. All right, so let's move on to the next question. I want to answer a lot of questions. So okay, let me just drink my water. Hmm. All right, let's go. So I love this question. So from Duyen, how to run a business efficiently and save time? Okay, thank you for that question. And being, having experience different businesses for the past 13 years, of course, I want to say that each business, this is kind of like a disclaimer first, right? Each business is definitely different. And there is no one size fits all answer to, to the questions. So it's good to really think about how can this apply to my business, right? So yeah. So that aside, why, maybe the it's good to understand first, why do we need to make our business more efficient, and like, to save time. So definitely, when you run a business, you want to be able to, like, let's say for example, one of the key measures in a business is sales, for example. And so if your business is efficient and you save time, then you can have more turnover, like the customers turnover is much faster, which means you will have more sales, right? So that's kind of like, why do you want to be more efficient? And of course, at the same time, in terms of cost, if your business is more efficient, then you don't need to hire a lot of people, which means you will save a lot more cost. So more sales, lower cost means higher profit. And so that's why we want to answer this question. That's why this is important. Okay, good. So I remember one of my first experience of um, creating efficiency was when I was still working for a multinational company, electronics company, and my my role was an applications engineer. So basically, my job was to create, like solutions that will help clients. And I was assigned to one of our clients, so I had to go to Malaysia. And this company is Seagate. So if you're familiar with Seagate, so they make, hard disk drives. And so they, in their factory, there are several machines wherein they produce, the hard disk drives. And so my job was to analyze their line and to improve it, to make it more efficient so that it can, produce more hard disks. And so I was assigned there for about 2 weeks. So every day I would come in and check the whole production line, and analyze it. And so there's basically three steps that you can use in order to, in your own business, to make it more efficient and save time. So the first one is, and I know this might be kind of like uh, common sense to some of you here, but a lot of times, I think I mentioned this the last time, is common sense is also not so common nowadays. But the first step is actually to zoom out. So the first time I visited this customer, that's Seagate, we had a meeting with the managers, with the production supervisors, and we started talking about, okay, what's happening, why do they need to, improve the production line, what needs to be done, what are the challenges, blah blah blah. And so we started talking about that, and it's kind of like when you zoom out, you get a very good view or look at the whole picture, the big picture. And this is something that might be very common to some people. So like me, I'm someone who is big picture. So in NLP, we also learn that there's two types of people. So one is big picture, so those people who, like, are visionaries that can see, overview. And then there's another type, which are detailed people. So those are very, meticulous. They like all the details. So it's kind of like the opposite. And and so I'm a big picture person, but each and every one of us has the capability for both. So me, sometimes I become very detailed as well, but my normal state is a big picture. So that's the first step. So you need to zoom out in order to see the whole picture. And by doing that, you can take note of the whole process, right? So the whole process. So that is the key. So we did that by having a meeting with the managers, blah blah blah. And then the second step, right, is to now focus on each process, like breaking it down, analyzing each process, what you need to do, and understanding each process. So that, for me, what I did was, like, every day I went to the production line and then checked out, okay, this machine and then this machine, or what's happening here, and then this operator. So yeah, so this is where the details come in. And one after I broke it down, the third step is look at where you can improve on each process. And so this is where a lot of people kind of like stumble, because people think they need to create a huge improvement in order to create that, like, very, very good results. But in fact, if you can even just 1% improve 1% in each process. And so if the performance before is like this, right? A straight line. If you improve 1% at the start, then it goes up a bit. Then the next process, you improve another 1%, then it goes up again, and it goes up and it goes up and it goes up. So then the result will be, a higher, um, improvement, higher percentage improvement. And so that's what I did. So for that company, I made some suggestions, of course, mainly for our products, our machines, but the other processes, I made some suggestions. Then at the end of that, the improvement was massive for the client. So they were very, very happy about it. And so that's kind of like how you want to look at your own business. So to really check out, each process and improve each one of them, even if it's just 1%. So thank you for that question. I hope I've explained that. That's one of the projects that I took on when I was still working for, when I was still an employee, that I until now I cannot forget, because that was like a very good experience. So I'm checking the live chat again. Hello, hello. Thank you everyone for being here. Yes. And also, if you're here, I do also have, like my social media platform like Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Go ahead and follow me there as well. Later on, there were a few questions from the socials that I'd like to answer. Okay, next question. Da, da, da. Okay, let's go into some customers, because customers are important. Oh, this one. From Tu Trung, how to react to unsatisfied customer feedback. So I'm curious, like, how many of you here have your own business already, or maybe you're servicing clients as an employee, maybe your customer service, your frontliners. Yeah, just put it in the chat, so I know as well, because this is very interesting. Because nowadays, because of the digital age, um, to interact with our clients can be, face to face, in person, or online. And people can leave online reviews, and things like that. So I wonder where you are getting the feedback from, because this is critical. So a few things is that the main difference when you are tackling feedback online is that you have time, right? You have time on your side to answer their feedback, or maybe, like, give them something, reply to them later on. But when it's face to face, then you don't have time, like, you need to come up with an answer, or need to appease them, if it's really a negative feedback, right? So so these kind of things that is the main difference between online and face to face. But the key here, to understand, is emotions. So when a customer, a client, is unsatisfied, definitely there are some negative emotions there, right? And the worst thing that a business owner or an entrepreneur can do is to match that emotion. So if the customer is angry, then you become angry. You get triggered and you become angry as well, and clash with the client. That's the worst thing that can happen. So emotions is the key component here in this situation. So the first thing, when it's online, it's great, because you can, like, pause and don't reply, and settle down your own emotions first. And at the same time, when time passes, the emotions of the client also, goes down. Um, and a lot of these days when I do talks, I also share that how emotions is so powerful that it's one of the key measures of success. A lot of successful people have very good management of their emotions. So that is the first thing. So but when you are face to face with a client, then that's where you need to kind of like be more adept, more skillful. But first, I think I love this, and this is something that an exercise that I would give to my coaching clients as well. It's called the gratefulness exercise, right? Because you see, when you when we run a business, and when a customer actually gives us feedback, positive or negative, whatever, it what happens is that we are in getting informed. We are getting informed about our business, our products, our service, our brand, and it's fantastic, because the opposite is that a customer goes. So let's say, for example, you have a restaurant business, and a customer comes in, eats, and then goes out, and then basically nothing, and you don't know what's the status of your business. But if a client gives you feedback, even if it's negative, then you can do something about it. So the first step is to be grateful, that you are receiving feedback, right? So that's the first step. Then the second step is, when you are tackling this, when you are handling this face to face, then it's best to create some time, some space between the emotions of the customer and you. So it's best if you can pause and breathe, right? So pause and breathe, and so that your emotions get settled down. Because ultimately, as an entrepreneur, you need to think that it's really not about you, right? So when an unsatisfied customer gives negative feedback, it's not about you, it's about them, it's about their experience. So if you can, get out of your head and think about the client themselves, and, oh, okay, trying to understand, okay, where is my client coming from? Why are they, unsatisfied and complaining? And then the dynamic changes. Then you go back into the reason why you started the business in the first place, which is, creating something to actually provide something to help other people. And so that is the powerful state that you can be in, instead of like clashing with another person's emotions. And so this is really powerful. And so that's why one of the things that we did in our company is to really develop products, to support people in managing their emotions as well. Yeah. So yeah, I hope I answered that clearly. Thank you very much for that question. Okay. Woo. Thank you. Oh, nice. There's more questions coming in. Hello, hello, everyone. Yeah, I just learned one more thing from Yen. Yes, that's fantastic. Good, 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 good. Okay, next question. Oh, again, remind you, if you're watching this and you're learning something, enjoying it, please do share, so that your friends and family can watch it as well. More people can learn as well. All right, good. So let me see. I know there was a few questions that came from social media, but hmm, how to do? Oh, I answered this already. From Nam, let me see this. Okay. How to keep the business competitive with other competitors in the market. Right. Good, 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 good. Competition, I think, firstly, some of the people that I interacted with in the past who wanted to start their own business are scared of competition. And I would always tell them this: competition is actually very good, uh, for the market overall. Because what does competition provide? Competition provides improvements. So for example, in a specific market, there are several competitors, there are several players, and when they are competing with each other, what happens is they innovate. They make their products or services better than their competitors, or maybe even the price. They improve the price. So the overall, the market itself benefits because of competition, right? So competition is not bad. It's really, really good for everyone. And as an entrepreneur, of course, the challenge is to be on your feet, on your toes, to really be creative, to be always on top of your business and make it better than previously. So competition is really good. So I hope I clarified that. But the thing about competition, right, is one of the things that this one I learned personally as well, is I always thought, when I started different businesses in the past, my goal is to become the best. I want to be the best. I want to be the number one in this industry. And it's a great aspiration. But what I learned from my mentor in Money and You is that as a small business, especially when you are not as big as Coca-Cola, or when you're like not a eminent multinational company, the thing that you need to be asking yourself is not how do I become the best. He said the question that you should be asking is how can you be different. And I contemplated and really thought about like what he said, how to be different. And he started to explain that when we are starting a business, we need people to remember us. We need to attract loyal clients. We need to create, like fans, our tribe. And by becoming different from our competitors, then we create our own pool of loyal clients. And so that is the key to basically survive the first few years of business. And then from there, start to become better and better and better. And basically, you are ultimately, right, ultimately in business, you are competing with yourself. How can you become better tomorrow? How can you become better tomorrow? So so that is the key. So that's what I want to leave with you. The thing that you want to ask yourself is, how can I be different from my competitors? And so even though you are still competing with them, ultimately when each one of you in the market is different, and then in a way you are not competing with each other anymore. And so let me give a very good example. So one of the business that I'm involved with is an art school here in Singapore. And a typical art school here in Singapore is like, they will have a lot of kids, and then they'll kind of like put up on the wall like, okay, this is what we're going to be doing today. Everyone is gonna do the same thing. So let's say, for example, it's an elephant, and everyone is going to be drawing an elephant, painting an elephant, and all the kids will be doing exactly the same thing, copying whatever the teacher has put up on the wall. And so when we started our art school, we our founder and main teacher, she didn't want to do that. She thought, it's not a great way to teach kids arts. And her idea is to really have kids observe, what their eyes are seeing. And so what happens now is that, even though, let's say, for example, she would put a picture of an elephant, each each one of the kids will have a different interpretation of the elephant, because it's what they see from their eyes. And so every kid would have a different result at the end of the class. So not everyone is just copying and copying exactly the same thing. And because of that, um, the our school was very different from all the other art schools in Singapore, and we attracted parents who believe in the same idea, same concept for their kids. And even though we are not as big as, the other schools here, the franchises and all these things, we were able to really survive and then later on thrive as a business, because we are different from the other businesses. So that's a great example of that. So to keep your business competitive, think about that question, answer that question. How can I be different in the market, right? I hope I've answered your question, Nam. Good, good, good. Ooh, I'm getting some virtual hug. Thank you very much. I'm just like you. I also have a lesson for myself. Ooh, good. Share more, Nguyen. Uh, yeah. So thank you everyone for being here. So we're halfway through. I want to answer more questions. So if you do have any other questions about business, about entrepreneurship, about personal development, feel free to just post it, comment it uh, in the chat. Okay. All right. Good. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. I saw another question about a customer. Let me see. Huh? Anyway, um, just looking at some of the questions. Ooh, from two. Huh. Nice. Nice question. How to define a successful entrepreneur? Nice. And as a coach, right? It's very easy for me to to extract this from my clients, because one of the first questions that I ask to my coaching clients is that, what do you want, right? What do you want? Let's say, for example, for your business, and then we break it down and discuss this. We talk about this, like, what specifically do you want? And the interesting thing is, success, right? Success, or how each and every one of us define a successful entrepreneur, or how to become a successful entrepreneur, is totally different for each and every one of us. And some of us would have a standard idea of what a successful entrepreneur is. So let's say, for example, oh, I want to be like Elon Musk, like I have like this huge business. Or maybe some will have an idea, oh, I want to become a millionaire, entrepreneur. And those are like standard answers to that question. But if you really pause and ask yourself, okay, like, for me, like, what would be a success? Like, how can I tell myself that I'm already a successful entrepreneur? And That is your answer. So even though if I tell you like this is, this is how you define a successful entrepreneur, then it might not fit your own beliefs and values as well. But of course, there are certain like standards, right? So let's say, for example, an entrepreneur is only an entrepreneur because they have a business, right? So a business that actually helps people, contributes back to the society, and all these things. So a measure that you can put into, like, to call yourself a successful entrepreneur, for example, is my business profitable, right? So if it's profitable, even if it's just $1, then I'm successful. Or for me, let's say for me, since I'm in the business of transformation, I'm in the business of helping people become better, become their best selves. So for me, my measure of success for my business as an entrepreneur is if I can help even just one person, right? Either in their transformation or become successful, then I'm already successful. You see how kind of like low that is, because that's up to me to decide. And when I hit that, and I hit that like multiple times, then I feel so good, because it just keeps reinforcing that I am successful. I am successful. Oh, I help another person today, I'm successful. So instead of like, oh, although I do have big goals, like, I want to help like a million wannabe entrepreneurs. But if that is my measure of success, like, I will only become successful after I help 1 million people. So every day I cannot call myself successful, right? Because I need to wait until I hit 1 million. And so that is the difference. Even one of the people that I learned from and follow, Anthony Robbins. So Anthony Robbins' measure of success is, even if he just learned one thing in a day, he calls himself a success. So so I model that from Anthony Robbins as well. Yeah. So how you can define yourself as a successful entrepreneur will really depend on you. Like, the answer must come from you, right? So if you need help with that, you can always find a coach, or you can message me as well. We can have a conversation about that. Um, a good thing with having someone else, like a professional coach, asking you, questions, because they are very skilled in asking these powerful questions as well. Good. Thank you for that question. Awesome. Okay. Good. All right. Time check. It's 8:43, and maybe I can answer a couple of more questions. Yep. Okay. Let me see. Who else is here? Thank you for staying, by the way. Actually, I'm thinking what else we can do in our next live to make it so much better. Standards are different with each person. Yes, correct. Each person will have different goals in life, beliefs as well, and values. So definitely, that's why we all have different goals. We have different definition of success. Thank you so much. Yes, you're welcome. You're very, very welcome. Okay. Oh, that's the question about the customers that I saw earlier. Let me answer that. Okay. So how to deal with difficult customers? So earlier, there was a question about customers who were unsatisfied, right? So who gave a negative feedback. And then this question is more, for example, how like a customer real time is very difficult. And I because the reason why I was interested with this, I experienced something similar. And as a trainer, right? So I work with a lot of people inside the room, and there was one time I was doing this training, and one of my participants, the trainees, um, is a bit annoying and loud. That this person was basically disrupting the whole room, and the other participants weren't happy about it. And so what happened was there was kind of like this tension and our argument between like the participants. And since it's my training and I have to really handle the room, the this person was really kind of like in an angry state already, and she started to put that anger towards me as the trainer. And luckily, I mean, I was already very much self-aware. I've been practicing meditation, mindfulness, and so I was very objective and in a way zen. And the emotions that she was like projecting towards me really didn't affect me. And so I started having just a conversation, and then asking that person questions until like her emotions also subsided. And then she sat back down, and like was totally okay, all throughout the training already. And I think, especially if you are just gonna start your own business right now, and if you are concerned about those kind of people, like difficult customers, after being in business for 13 years, right, and doing different businesses, one thing that I can tell you, and also speaking to a lot of other business owners, having an experience with a very difficult client or customer is very rare, right? It doesn't really happen a lot. And maybe because in social media we would see some videos about this kind of people, but reality is maybe 99% of the customers that will go through you will be either very good customers, or just like standard customers that would probably buy or use your service, right? uh, and there's very little, like 1% or maybe 2% of those type of clients that are very difficult. And so you don't really have to worry about that. That's one, right? But then the next thing is that, what if, but Coach Jovan, but what if it does happen? What if I'm those 2% type of business that experience that? And so I think my advice is to really be mentally prepared for it. So for me, when I experienced that with that type of participant in my training, right, I had my own kind of like personal development as well. So I think that's the first thing that I would suggest for anyone who wants to go into business, who wants to become an entrepreneur, is to develop yourself. Go through personal development programs, learn mindfulness, manage your emotions, learn how to manage your emotions, and all of these things, because definitely they will help. So other than learning all the business planning, learning all the strategizing, learning about marketing, and that's one part of it. But remember to also learn about yourself, develop your self-awareness, improve your, go through personal development programs. So that is kind of like one of my advice. But then another one is practicing. So meaning having talking to your business partners, for example, or your staff, and talking about, okay, how do we handle clients that are rude, or how do we handle clients that are difficult. Then all of these things you need to have a conversation, talk about it, and then if you want, even practice, like, make simulations, sit down, okay, I'll be the difficult customer, and then how do you handle all those things. So that is key, because when you are mentally prepared, then it becomes much easier, even, if it's just 1% or 2% chance of happening, right? So good. So lucky I saw that question again. I hope I satisfied you with that answer. Nguyen Huang. Okay, good. So I think we have time for one last question. Let me see. Again, thank you very much. I'm super grateful for everyone here who has been, around until, from 8 o'clock until now, and still watching. Okay, let's continue to talk about customers from Honey. Honey, Hanni, not Honey. Honey has a question. So her question is, as a startup, how to attract new customers to new products? Very good question, Honey. And this is really about marketing already. So there's a few things that you need to take advantage of when you are a new entrepreneur, because psychologically, right? Psychologically, people want new things, right? And if you, for example, McDonald's, right? So McDonald's, we all know McDonald's products. So they have the cheeseburger, they have the fries, right? So this is the standard McDonald's products. But from time to time, in, even locally, like different countries would have different products as well. They would introduce new things, right? From time to time, like maybe every 3 months or every 2 months, they would introduce new things. Oh, this, for example, in Singapore, they have the in Chinese New Year, they have this special burger, or maybe they have this Japanese style burger, or recently they developed to cater to the local flavors. They develop a nasi lemak burger. So people definitely want new things. And so, as a new entrepreneur with a new business, with a new product or new service, you need to take advantage of that novelty. And the way to do that is to really market your product. And when I say market, is to communicate, to reach out, to a lot of people as much as possible, especially when you are starting a business. And so when we last year, during the pandemic, our coaching and training company, we shifted and we developed a product. So we developed a product called EmoQ cards. And this, so from coaching and training, like a service, right? Then we develop a product. And so it's something new in the market. And we checked, and no one has done something similar as well. And so what we did in order to reach out to more people, of course, is go through our networks, right? And so what I did was I created an event. So it's our launch event, and then we invited like a lot of people, as much as we can. So I think we ended up inviting 120 people to that event, and basically to introduce our product. And the thing is, because it's new, so a lot of people were curious. A lot of people wanted to know. But of course, there are like other marketing tactics there, right? So we invited some well-known speakers to that event, so that so it attracts other types of people as well. So that's kind of like one way, but in general, what you need to really do is to communicate to as many people as possible your new products. And the barrier to overcome is not that high, because people are interested with new products. Yeah, I hope I answered that, Handy. Good. All right, let me just quickly check the chat. All smiles. Thanks for your lesson today. Oh, love it. Oh, thank you very much. You're welcome as well. Okay. So there's a question here. Since we have about 4 minutes left, there's a question here about setting goals and disciplining yourself, like being disciplined. So that one is, I think, a huge topic that we can start to talk about in the next live. There's another question here. Is I think this one was asked previously as well. What do you find most challenging about being an entrepreneur? And this one is a huge topic again, that I would love to, like expand and talk about in our next live. Um, yeah, so we don't have much time, but now I want to spend a bit of few minutes to see if you have any other questions that you'd like to ask. Then maybe we can put that in our next YouTube live. Or another thing is that one of the few things that I'm thinking about is how to like make our live YouTube live more fun and engaging as well, along with the educational stuff, which is answering all of these questions. So if you have like some fun ideas, feel free to put in to comment that as well. I do have some interesting ideas that maybe I'll speak to the team and implement next time. Ooh, ooh, ooh. But I'm open to suggestions, especially you're the ones gonna be who are gonna be benefiting for that. Okay, thank you very much. Just checking the chat last time. So yeah, so again, thank you very much. So it's 8:58, and I think we are going to be ending early, but because some of the question there's no new questions, some of the questions here are big questions that I want to answer. So let me just quickly post it, but I won't be answering them. So let's say, for example, from Yen, what do you find most challenging about being an entrepreneur? This one, I have so many things that I can share, that I'd love to talk about this in our next YouTube live. And then the other one is from Trong, why set goals? Yeah, yeah. And if you have seen some of my posts, I talk about the big, hairy, audacious goals. So yeah, I love that. So I learned that from one of my mentors, Douglas, the Kampong Kid, and he's the one who introduced me to big, hairy, audacious goals. Yeah, so I can talk about that more, or maybe I'll invite Douglas and discuss uh, big, hairy, audacious goals together in our YouTube live. Ooh, that would be interesting. Yeah. So okay. Yeah, I will speak to him about that. Okay. So with that, thank you everyone. Thank you so much for always being here in my YouTube live, and I appreciate it. I do hope that some of the questions, even if it's just one of the questions, you have taken away something from it, and you've learned, and you're gonna apply it in your own life in some ways. Um, that will be awesome already. So with that, thank you very much, and I'll see you all again in the next live. Bye. Like, share, and subscribe.